So this is by far one of the coolest updates. Today what we're going to do is we're going to connect your Claude Desktop to your own MCP servers that I'm going to help you create. Now for anybody that hasn't been following along, MCPs are like the USB of AI, and it helps connect your AI to a bunch of different applications that allow you to do different things directly from your desktop. Now the only thing that was happening prior was that we were automatically connecting to an MCP server, and sometimes those servers were third-party servers that weren't really secure, so it was really kind of like shady whether or not you wanted to actually share information. But today we're going to control the actual process of creating our own servers and then connecting our Claude Desktop directly to them. So stay tuned. This is definitely not one you're going to want to miss, and build along with us. Just in case you missed it, I did a previous video where I showed you how to install Claude directly on your desktop. Now, if you missed that video or the SOP that comes along with it, make sure to check it out inside the YouTube channel. We'll link it below, and we'll also try to link it up on top for you. Now, that being said, the one thing that was happening was whenever we were trying to connect to the MCP servers that are available to us, there's a lot of third-party servers that basically are, again, not always stable, always going down. And when you were putting your information, it was definitely going to some third-party place out there that you really weren't sure of. Well, N8N, a great and powerful program that we literally just did another video on, allows you the ability of creating your own servers and kind of controlling the security a little bit more. Now, again, if you want some insight on how to install that, we also have a video on how to do that. But again, we're going to today not only show you how to make your own MCP servers, we're actually going to show you another bonus way that is really not talked about in the internet right now, because Zapier, believe it or not, another third-party software that connects two apps, which we've been running automations from for years, has also given us the ability of creating our own MCP server. Now, the reason this is important is because this is going to open up a lot of ability of going in and connecting AI to different things that you want to do, but through a very secure protocol, either through your own Zapier account or through your N8N account. And I'm going to kind of show you how to do both. The first one we're going to do is we're actually going to create our MCP server inside of N8N, and then what we're going to do is connect it to our desktop. Followed after that, we're also going to do our Zapier connection, because I'm going to show you how that works. Now, before we get started, I'm going to show you two different ways to basically create these servers. And then I'm also going to show you how to update it to the nearest and best model, which is the beta model that allows you to have these abilities. Now, when you go in, we're first going to go to our N8N server. So we're going to come over here and we're going to just come in, and I'm going to go to N8N. Now, when you go to N8N and you're going to the one that's basically on the cloud, meaning the one that's hosted by N8N and you're not self-hosting it, what you're going to do is you're going to come down here and you're going to go to your admin panel. Your admin panel is automatically going to take you to this screen. Once you're on this screen, you're going to hit on the little tiny settings button right from here. In settings, you're going to want to make sure you're in the latest version of beta. Beta gives you the MCP servers, and honestly, it's pretty stable. We just went ahead and we updated to it. So update to beta. Once you do that, you're going to hit save changes. Once you save changes, you're now going to have the new MCP ability. Hey, we want to interrupt this video for a quick little minute to just let you know that I hope you're enjoying this video. We want to thank you for being here, but more importantly, we are hoping that this content helps you do whatever you're trying to do inside a high level. We also want to let you know that you have options to get additional help. We offer a $197 a month VIP coaching program that includes 4 days of office hours, first come, first serve, with Andy or myself, where we go in and we answer any of your questions that you might have live with a group setting for other people that are also working in high level. We also have a VIP group where we answer questions directly one-on-one with anybody posting in that group to give you the absolute best support. It also comes with a bunch of other features, including our funnel brick system, our little mini course, and more importantly, a couple guides that'll help you through this, and also including our SOP library that we use for pretty much everything inside of our agency. So thank you for this quick little minute, but more importantly, go back to the video, get whatever you need, and if you have any questions that we can answer inside the video, just drop a comment on the video and we'll make sure to answer whenever we get a chance. And now back to the show. Now I'm going to come back over here and give you a quick little explanation of like how we were building, I wouldn't say servers, but agents before, right? So before, whenever we had to, let's say I had my ultimate agent, right in here, and I'm going to show you. Whenever I wanted to basically build an AI agent that wrote email, did calendars, did contacts, and did Slack or whatever else. So the way that I had to build it before was basically I had to create all these different agents that did these different things. So if I come in here, right, I go back into my personal projects and I go to that, let's say my email agent, notice that this is the agent, and then I would have all these different abilities that it could do. Now, believe it or not, the reason this is important is because now I'll have this ability of doing this right through an MCP server, meaning instead of this being only inside of N8N and being to activate it, I now can also use it inside my Claude Desktop by creating my server that does the same exact thing. Now, it sounds a little bit confusing, but I'm going to go back and we're going to build it together so you kind of see how it is, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and start a new project. All right, I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna create a personal project. And inside of here, the first trigger we're gonna do is we're actually gonna type MCP. Now, again, if you don't have it, that means you didn't update properly, but just understand this is how you do it. Now, the one thing that you're gonna understand is that this thing does give you, and by the way, I'll delete this trigger, so anybody seeing this, it's not gonna matter, I am gonna delete it, but I created my own N8N path that now gives me an address that I'm gonna be able to connect to my Claude Desktop. That's then in turn going to allow me to send and kind of receive information back and forth from this server. So first thing I'm going to do is put that MCP server, and we're going to put it up here. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right over here and I'm going to select my tools. Now, when I select in tools, now this is where I can add the different functions that I want, let's say Claude to have, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Gmail. Now, inside of Gmail, I'm going to click on Gmail, and you're going to come up to this screen. And the first thing I want to be able to do is send a message. Now, the subject, and the message, believe it or not, I'm going to let the model decide by hitting that little thing that looks like a star, and all that is AI taking over. I'm going to let it decide because, again, based on what I want it to do, I want to be able to let the AI decide what the subject line is going to be, who it's going to go to, and the message that it's going to be sending, right? So first thing I'm going to do, this is going to be the send. So what you want to do, though, when you're building these things out is you want to make sure you're renaming the model or the actual node, which is these things right here called the node. That is exactly what this part of this is going to do. Now, remember, you have to create basically a node as of now to basically come in here and decide whichever ones it is. Now, we have the send operation that we just did. The next thing that we're going to do is let's just go ahead and we're going to do get many. And again, we're going to let defined automatically by the model. We'll make it sure it's simplified and everything else. And again, anytime I do something in here, what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and name it, right? So this is get many. Anytime I have any of this, I can pretty much label it so then I know exactly what each node is going to do. And again, I can only give it access to the things I want. If I don't want any other access other than sending and getting the emails, then I can make it where it's like that. I'm going to keep on going. So we're going to go Gmail again. And instead of send, maybe this time we want to do, let's say, add a label. And inside of the add a label, again, I'm just changing it to where it automatically gets defined by the model. Again, hopefully being the AI in this case. And we're going to come over here and this is add label. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and rename. All right, the next thing we're going to do is let's just go ahead and maybe do creating a Google Doc and also appending to it, meaning you can create a doc, you can append to it, and you can find. So the first thing we're going to do is let's see the Google Docs and let's see what's there, right? Oop. All right, so there's Google Docs. The document, my drive is definitely going to be it. Folder name, we're just going to put it, I have something called NAN projects, rather just keep it all in there for a particular folder. The title, again, I'm going to let that automatically get. So this is going to be the create doc. So again, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put create doc. All right. And then all this should be good. We're putting in a specific drive. Now remember, this is not a video on how to connect your Google. There's plenty of documentations and YouTube videos on how to do that. I'm just trying to show where we can get this thing going so we can put it directly inside of our Claude. All right, so then it's Google Docs again. We did create. Now we can also update, let defined, actions, insert, define automatically by model. I'm wondering how much of this I can do that. It's going to be at the end. This is going to be updating the doc. And again, anytime I see the ability of putting that little star update, then that's what we'll do. Set automatically, right? And we'll play with this, right? A lot of these things are going to be trial and error. This is literally released. I just wanted to get this out to you so you guys can start playing also. This is create a doc, update a doc, and we're also going to do find a doc. All right. So we're going to come over here and we're going to do get document ID and everything else. And we're going to go there because usually, hopefully it can be by document ID or URL, but we'll play around with it. We'll see if we can do it in here. And again, there's a lot of different things and you can even set up your own custom API calls, meaning building your APIs to do very specific things inside of Google or any other amount, right? So we're going to come back out of here and all right. So we have the create a doc. Let's go ahead and just label these. So again, we know what each one of these do. And then the last but not least is we're going to get doc. All right, so we have all this. Now, we have all this set and go. We have the address that we have. Well, how the heck do we do this in Claude MCP and actually connect it? Now, the one thing that I will tell you is when connecting your Claude, for whatever reason, I had a really hard time with my virus scanner on this, especially when I went into the Zapier route. Now, with that, I'm going to go over like just turn off your virus scanner. Eventually you have to go in your virus scanner and actually allow the action to happen. But again, we're going to try it today. We're going to see if we have any issues, but that's what I had to do. I had to actually turn on my virus scanner because again, when you're using using Claude Desktop and a server like this, it's making calls and it's writing directly in your account when you start using some of the Google apps. So just be understanding that if you're all of a sudden this thing starts flagging and it starts blocking, it's because it's going outside to grab information to actually write inside your actual Claude Desktop. So just be aware of that. If you start having any issues, just turn your virus scanner off or you're doing that. And remember, these are secure settings because you're doing it from a Claude Desktop and it's going to like an N8N server or a Zapier server, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. And again, those connections are pretty secure as long as you're not sharing this information openly with anybody else, right? So I'm going to go ahead and grab this thing right here. And what we're going to do is we are going to go over to our Claude Desktop. Now, remember, for anybody that did our Claude kind of install last time, what we wanted to do is you have to go find wherever your Claude Desktop is. Now, you're going to come in here. Mine was in my C drive. So I'm going to go to my C drive. I'm going to go, I believe it was users. From users, it was my name. And then inside my name, it was app data. And then app data was roaming. And then in roaming, we saw Claude, and then in Claude, we're looking for a particular file called Claude Desktop config.json, right? Now, when you come in here, a lot of this will be blurred out because it has some of my keys. What we're looking for is the one that I kind of put together, and that's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to actually connect to the MCP server because there's going to be a particular code that you're going to want to leverage. So like any other MCP server, you're going to need to have a list of commands, and what you want to make sure you do is you come over here, and I'll kind of include it. If you guys want to take a screenshot, this is what you can do is, again, that URL that you have. And I got this directly from the N8N site. If you go in here, they actually give you this in particular. The only thing that we're going to not need is the MCP bearer token because this is going directly in there. So just understand that you have that. So this is coming directly from N8N's integrations and filing system, right? So if you come in here, the URL that you're going to have here is going to be the URL that Claude provided for you. So if we come in here, remember this, and we're going to go right to the production. I'm going to grab this thing right here. I'm going to copy it. Again, this will be blacked out for you guys, but just know that, you know, we have to keep it safe. We're going to come in here and we're going to drop it right in there. Now it's going to have this entire thing, and I'll go back and again, I'll delete this code just to make sure that, you know, nobody's using it, but I have it here. This is going to be what I need to install inside of my actual file that has all my other MCP connections. Now, for all the people that are not coders, here's a quick suggestion. Go to ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever you want to use. Because again, if you're not a coder, like I'm not a coder, I'm getting into coding. I'm learning as much as I possibly can, but I'm not a true coder. I'm a no coder. But it's important for you guys to understand these things. If you don't know how to put this together, literally go, please add this code to this original code, all right? And I'm going to come in here. I'm going to take my original code that I added in here. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it, and it should pretty much go in here and it's going to do it on its own. Now, while it's doing that, a couple of things to go over. Remember, this is going to be the server that you connect to your desktop, but that's not going to be the only thing you're going to be limited to. For anybody that's building apps, this is something that you're going to be connecting. I'll be experimenting personally in using even custom GTPs and seeing if they connect to MCP servers to allow the AI, like whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, or anybody else, to connect to these MCP servers to actually do inside of different things inside of different programs. Now, this will be some experimenting that I'll be doing over the next several days, and understand that this is something that we're going to have the ability of doing at some point later on. And this is going to get easier and easier for people like myself, who's not a true coder, in order to connect apps and have AI really do different things. All right, now it's wrote all the code for me. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to copy it. Once I copy it, I'm going to go back over to my Claude desktop file, right? Which is this file right here. And I'm going to basically take the code that's here, Control A, Control V, and I'm just going to save it. All right. Once that's saved, the best way to test this is to go to my Claude desktop, come in here, it's the desktop version that I kind of plugged in. And if I did it right, you'll see the different connection types of all the MCP tools that are available. Look, it just added a bunch. So what's really cool about this is, certain MCP servers are disconnected. This is the other one. Again, open MCP server connections. All right, so we gotta have to figure that out. And it did say that it was disconnected, and it was absolutely right because I had to go back in here and actually activate it. So I activated it, and hopefully I'm gonna actually shut down Claude again one time, just so then, and I have to shut it off. I also have to come over here and I have to shut it down here. So I'm going to shut it down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to open up again. Hopefully it'll connect this time around. Now, remember, I had to turn off my virus scanner to have some of these things work. So now I know it's connected right, because if you look at the MCP available tools, it should have all the different things that I'm able to do directly in here. And you can see it's got all my Gmail stuff in here, and it's got my create a doc, append, do all these different things. And now I have the ability of doing so. So what I'm going to do is let's see if this works, right? So I'm going to say create nice email to let Nuno know that I can't make it to the game tonight. Yeah, let's just see what happens. All right, so we're going to do that. Now, hopefully it'll know that it has an MCP server and it'll be able to do it. It wrote the name. Would you like me? Nope, please send the email. Now, sometimes you always have to say you have an MCP connect to it. Here we go. Allow for this chat. See, it's running Gmail, send to N8N. Allow for this chat to happen. And here you go. It's sent it right here and there. Like it's honestly here. And we were able to send that email directly from our desktop. Now, obviously we did a very simple example. Imagine this was a more complex, you can eventually do that. But now it gives you the ability of doing that. Now, anything that basically connect to N8N, you now have the ability connected to your Claude Desktop and having you automatically basically do everything that you need to do directly from your Claude Desktop to make it super easy, right? Now, you had the ability of MCPs before, but now you're able to do it through a secure server, and this actually works out pretty well. Now, here's another thing you can do. Now, this one is the one that gave me a lot of problems with my virus scanner, so I'm just giving you a heads up, but Zapier just created an MCP server ability also, where you can come in here into Zapier, basically come into actions.zapier.com/settings/MCP. You have to have an actual paid MCP account for Zapier, but believe it or not, you can create your Zapier actions right here. And notice that you can connect your MCP clients directly to your cursor, Windsurf, and Claude Desktop. And again, I'm going to show you how to do this, but basically what you do is it gives you an address that you're able to do. You come in here and you edit actions. And for instance, let's make believe, and I was toying around with basically Canva and exporting designs and all that. I'm not going to go through all that. And I've already kind of created the Google Docs, so I'm going to turn that off. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder in Google Drive, and I want the ability of finding a drive. Now, I can go through this with N8N, but the cool thing about what Zapier can do is it can connect to like over 6,000 apps. So knowing how to do this and being able to do this with another application, just in case I don't want to go through N8N, I can. And now Zapier has the ability of doing so. So just like before, instead of connecting to the N8N server where I'm building the server out and everything else, I can go to Zapier and it automatically has the same ability. Now, Zapier, like before, you can come in here and basically if I wanted to add an action, because again, the actions are the apps of where it needs to do, I can come over here and hit add new action and literally cycle through, the thousands upon thousands of things that I can do in here. So for instance, if I want to create, well, you know what? Let's make it even a little bit easier. Let's actually do Google Sheets because we don't have Google Sheets, right? So Google Sheets. And again, so like before, create a spreadsheet row. I can literally add all these different commands directly in here. Now, again, this opens up to for thousands upon thousands of apps throughout the internet, which makes it super exciting. So for instance, here, let's just get it to where we can create a worksheet. All right. And again, have AI guess the value field. I'm going to enable that action. And then I'm going to do Google Sheets again, add a new action, Google Sheet, where I can actually create a sheet. I think that's the one I just did, Google Sheet, create a spreadsheet. Okay. Again, AI is going to define. So that's how you do this here. Enable action and add a new one, create a spreadsheet row, right? So let's do it again, Google Cal. Oh, not Cal, sorry. But again, Google Calendar will be another one you can connect. Like, how cool is that? Google Sheets. We're going to do create a spreadsheet row. Perfect. All right. Again, let AI define all of this. Enable that action. And now that I have the actions that I want created, and I'm going to be toying around with this and adding different actions, right? I saw Canva was in there, which is super exciting because then you can create some designs or at least get it to that point. Now I'm going to come back out of here. And now I'm going to come back out of this and I'm going to go back to that action place because what I need the server. Now that this is all said and done, actually, I think you got to kind of like go back a couple. Yeah, you got to go to original. And by the way, guys, if you need to know how to get here, it's literally zapier.com/MCP. You have to have an account. You hit the get started and this is where it takes you. Now I'm going to copy the URL, but before I do, if you go to connect your MCP clients and you go to Claude Desktop, I'm going to open that up in another area right here. And it gives you the actual code and a guy explaining how to do it. Where again, same thing as before. You're going to come in here, you're going to copy that. You're going to go back to, let's say, your Claude. Okay, now add this one. All right. All you're going to do is basically change your Zapier integration to have that. Now I'm going to copy that code. And again, same file as before in Claude Desktop. You have to find where your Claude Desktop is basically installed. Then you have to go into the way that I showed you. You come in here for your desktop and you're going to come back over here, Control V. And then you're going to want to get that Zapier code. Now remember, yours is going to be different than mine. I'm going to copy that. All right, I added my personal URL because again, I don't want to share that because that's my Zapier connection. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to shut down Claude again one more time. I'm going to come over here and restart it again. And now remember, if I did this right now, again, sometimes you might have a little bit of issues and I got to figure out why that's causing that an issue inside of there. But I should now have all the new ones, the Google Sheet ones. I have Gmail, I have Google Docs, and now I have all the Google Sheets. So let's say create Google Sheet comparing the top. I don't even know if this is going to work. Again, I'm really allowing AI to go out there. Create a Google Sheet comparing the top most reliable cars and make some important comparisons. Now, I might have not given it enough commands in the Google Sheet, so this might not work, but I'm hoping that AI can figure it out. But let's see, right? So if I did this right, it's going to use the Zapier ones because that one is the one that I've actually given it all the Google Sheet permissions that I think it needs. I said Google Sheet row, creating a worksheet and seeing what happens. So here it is, allow. Let's see if it can actually work. It might error out because of the simple fact that I might have not given enough commands. I might have to give it a whole set of commands in order for it to do this. So it might be struggling a little bit, but let's wait and see how this goes. So yeah, I figured as much that, and again, I kind of stopped the video because it's struggling creating the actual cells. Because again, I believe I have to give it a full range of commands, but it did create the sheet and it did create the models, the brands, the powertrain and everything else, and all the reliability factors. It just had a hard time writing in the cells. And again, because I didn't give it enough. Now I'll go back and I'll fix that in my Zapier actions, but how cool is that? You're able to create the sheets. Again, this is just the beginning. The fact that we just literally got this a couple days ago and we're already kind of like getting into it is super important. So one last thing for anybody that's using a self-hosted NAN, I use Delistio, just making sure that again, I'm going in here and showing you how to update to the latest version of NAN. It's one thing that I just like, again, I had trouble finding. I know Railway is a little bit more difficult. Listio, this is the way to do it. You can kind of go into your Listio server for anybody that has it. And when you come in here, if you come all the way to the right-hand side, you can go to your project, right? When you first walk in, you're going to automatically go here. If you have your NAN instance, you're going to click on it. When you click on it, you're going to go over to your right-hand side. You're going to go over to change version and make sure you choose the version that says 1.88 because that's going to be the newest version there. And you're all set to go. Now, this will again update it and you'll be able to do the same kind of MCP servers inside of here. And then the last bit that I will show you is on top of creating them here where we can create this, and let's make sure we put this as Google Suite MCP server. What I can also do is I can also then, because I have the absolute server trigger, what I can also do is when I build like any kind of agent, so if I come back over here and let's make believe I go to my regular, kind of agent that I had, or, I'll create a new workflow and I'll have this as a chat. I can create this where this chat right here will go to advanced AI agent that will then connect to a particular server. So let me tell you what I mean by this. I can connect OpenAI to this or OpenRouter. Again, if you guys want to use different ones like Gemini, which is really good right now, or so forth, but I can connect it to OpenAI. And then in here, I can add MCP. And in here directly, I can add and create the server that I just created. I can add my address in here. And then basically now I'll call this the Google Suite client, Google Suite server. And basically I can come in here, I'll duplicate this. I'll go and grab my address from my actual Google Suite server that we just created together. And then inside of my own NAN, I can come in here and basically have this new address in here. So if I copy this right here, the production address, again, this will be blacked out, but I copied it. I now can give it directly in here. And now basically check this out. My AI agent, now I'll give it a little bit of memory just so then make it super simple. Look at this. I now can create as many servers as I want and have a super agent that can work off of Telegram, WhatsApp, whatever else. That'll go directly in here and work off the actual server client. That's going to be huge because now I can create very autonomous agents that can work to a very trained AI model that I can come in here and give very specific directions to. And now I can take all the models that I've created prior, give them access to the MCP suite, and let the AI decide which MCP server it's going to use based on what it needs. Now, I'll say go to the Google client server for anything Google app related, like Gmail, this and that. Give a very specific instructions to do that. I can have it go to a vector database and gather all the information I ever needed and so forth and so on. Obviously, the monumental part of all this is that you can create some pretty crazy agents that are going to do a lot of wild things. And then you have the option of Zapier. You have the option of which we prefer of NAN. And then more importantly, you have the now the ability of making these powerful AI tools that can work off of different servers and have access to thousands of applications. So hope you enjoyed this update, and we'll see you on the next one.